When I borrow money, I create money.
So how does that work? Debt is a claim check on the future. When you take on debt, you're saying, I will work tomorrow for what I want today. Maybe it's a car, maybe it's a house, maybe it's a latte. Whatever it is, you're receiving the goods or service on the day now for payment of your time later on. Now, what if it wasn't just you taking on debt for the thing, but the very dollars that you took out are debt itself? What then? Well, if that's the current system that we live in, are you telling me that the debt I'm taking out to buy the thing is also debt itself? Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying. When the Fed creates new money, it doesn't literally print bills. Well, most of the time. Instead, it buys US government debt or treasury bonds using money created out of thin air. The US Treasury issues a bond, an IOU. The Fed buys that bond, crediting the seller's account with new dollars that have never been in existence before. And now those dollars circulate in the economy, but they're backed by a debt obligation, the Treasury bond. So the base layer of our money supply is a promise to repay, a liability on the government's balance sheet. Every dollar in existence today was born as someone else's liability. In a debt-based monetary system, the money itself is debt, as it's implied in the name, debt-based monetary system. When that's the foundation of your system, the only way to keep it alive is to create more of it. Bad debt is everywhere. It's the credit card bill you can't pay off, or the student loan that outlives the career that it bought. It's debt taken on for consumption, not production. The irony is that our entire financial system is built on the same kind of consumption debt. Governments fund programs that no longer yield returns. Corporations borrow to buy back their own stock. Consumers borrow to feel rich in a world that's quietly going broke. Now, there is such a thing as good debt. Good debt is leverage that produces value more than it costs. A tractor for a farmer, a machine for a factory, a rental property that pays itself off. These are all examples of good debt. But even good debt depends on one thing, a stable unit of account. If the dollars you owe are being printed faster than you can earn them, then your leverage turns into a trap. Good debt turns bad the moment money loses meaning.
If you tried to pay for something with a piece of paper, you might run into some trouble. Unless, of course, the piece of paper was a $100 bill. But what is it that makes that bill so much more interesting and valuable than other pieces of paper? After all, there's not much you can do with it. You can't eat it. You can't build things with it, and burning it is actually illegal. So what's the big deal? Of course, you probably know the answer. A $100 bill is printed by the government and designated as official currency, while other pieces of paper are not. But that's just what makes them legal. What makes a $100 bill valuable, on the other hand, is how many or few of them are around. Throughout history, most currency, including the US dollar, was linked to valuable commodities, and the amount of it in circulation depended on a government's gold or silver reserves. But after the US abolished the system in 1971, the dollar became what is known as fiat money, meaning not linked to any external resource, but relying instead solely on government policy to decide how much currency to print.
The asset that underpins the dollar is just a promise that's enforced by the world's largest military.
We all have to keep pretending the propaganda is true and we're going after the terrorists and we're the good guys.
It's like patriotic if you say anything. It's all bullshit. What's the point here? What does victory look like? And it doesn't look like anything. That whole complex is in the business of war. If you're not expending artillery, if you're not creating new weapon system, if you're not doing all that stuff, business is bad. And you can see that whether it's in food, whether it's in big pharma, whatever the best intentions in the beginning seem to run away, and then that system just sustains itself. But the root of all the problems and all the pathologies we see stem from fiat currency that is corrupted.
By oil, technology, and the machinery of war. The dollar's value depends on the credibility of an empire. But that empire's credibility depends on the continuation of the dollar system. Both of them rely on each other.